Evelyn de Morgan painted beauty like it was fighting for its soul. Angels, prisoners, bodies caught between darkness and fire. Women who looked less rescued than ready to judge the world. And for too long, history treated all of this as if it were just prettiness. At first glance, her paintings can look like the last glow of pre-Raphaelite beauty. Golden hair, long robes, mythology, light falling across impossible bodies. But stay with them for a few seconds longer and something changes. The beauty starts to sharpen, the angels stop feeling gentle, the colour turns into warning. This is not decoration, this is not a woman politely painting pretty things while the serious men go on with history. Evelyn de Morgan used beauty like a blade, and that is why her work still feels more dangerous than people expect. She was born Mary Evelyn Pickering in London in 1855. Wealthy family, comfort, education, expectation, but not freedom. A woman of her class was supposed to be accomplished, not serious, decorative, not dangerous. When her mother suggested presenting her at court, Evelyn reportedly snapped back that she would only go if she could kick the Queen. That tells you everything you need to know about who she was going to become. She studied at Slade School of Art, where women were beginning to force their way into serious art education. She did not paint like someone asking permission. She learned the visual language of the male art world, the mythology, the sacred gestures, the long hair and luminous bodies. Then she turned that language against itself. Take the Gilded Cage. A young woman in golden robes stands at a window, one arm reaching out toward the world beyond the glass. Outside, ragged dancers move freely. A woman in the crowd carries a baby. A bird flies high above them, untethered. Inside the room, the woman's older husband sits slumped in a chair, surrounded by books titled Poetry, Music, Art, Death and Medicine. Above his head hangs a small gilded cage with a canary inside, broken jewellery, and an abandoned book lying the floor at her feet. The painting tells you very quietly what kind of room this is. The cage is not a metaphor on the wall. The cage is the room. The cage is the marriage. The cage is the entire arrangement of a woman's life in 1902, and de Morgan understood something important about cages of this kind. They are decorated so well that people stop calling them prisons. That is the trick the whole painting is built on. Her women are not passive ornaments. They think, they wait, they endure. Sometimes they look as if they have already understood the true cost of the world around them. This is where the pre-Raphaelite comparison starts to crack. Yes, she inherited some of that visual world, but she pushed it somewhere stranger, less romantic, more political. Her beauty was not an escape from reality, it was how she smuggled reality in. Again and again, de Morgan returned to trapped figures, bodies behind bars, souls surrounded by darkness, figures reaching toward light. In Hope in the Prison of Despair, the title tells you the spine of the picture before you even see it, but the image does the rest. The prison is not just stone, it is spiritual, emotional, human. That is the central tension in her work. The body is trapped, but something inside it keeps trying to rise. Light against darkness, spirit against matter, freedom against imprisonment, love against greed, life against death. She was not painting pretty allegories to decorate a room. She was painting moral emergencies in beautiful clothes. And when the First World War came, that sense of emergency became impossible to miss. De Morgan was a pacifist. She had signed the Declaration in favour of women's suffrage as far back as 1889. She painted more than 15 war paintings between the Boer War and the end of the First World War. But she did not paint war as mud, trenches, and battlefield realism. She answered it with allegory. That might sound distant. It is not. In SOS, a woman in white robes stands alone on a small rock in a vast dark sea. Her hands are stretched out, her eyes turned upward. Around her legs, Sea serpents and dragons rise out of the waves. Above her, a thin rainbow appears in the sky. The De Morgan Foundation reads the figure as the innocence of all the victims of war, surrounded by evil and death, calling out for deliverance. The title has often been read as Save Our Souls. That matters because De Morgan is not only asking who is dying, she is asking what kind of world made this possible. Not just save our bodies, save whatever is left of us after we have built a world that can do this. And the rainbow above her is the cruelest detail, a flicker of hope almost out of reach. Hope that has to be earned in a world that has stopped deserving it. Then there is the Red Cross. Christ rises above a field of white memorial crosses. Below him, the war dead stretch into the distance, marker after marker, almost without end. The De Morgan Foundation calls it one of her most successful paintings on the theme of war. There is no thrill here, no patriotic glory, no clean heroic story, just the terrible scale of loss and the desperate need to make meaning from it. This is where De Morgan feels startlingly modern. She does not paint war as adventure, she paints it as a wound in the soul of the world. And once you see that, you start to notice how much of her work is built around the same struggle. People trapped by wealth, women trapped by expectation, souls trapped in bodies, a world trapped by greed. Her paintings are full of beauty, but the beauty is never innocent. It is bait. You come for the colour, then you notice the chains. You come for the angels, then you notice the judgment. You come for the beautiful bodies, then you realise they are fighting for their lives. The surface welcomes you in, then the painting closes the door. And then there is William. This is where the story needs care. William De Morgan was not a cartoon villain husband stealing her light. He was a serious artist himself, a ceramicist, later a novelist. They were partners, intellectual companions. In fact, for the first half of their marriage, Evelyn used the profits from her paintings to help finance William's pottery business. She was the one keeping the money flowing. She actively contributed ideas to his ceramic designs. This was not a woman in the shadow of her husband during her lifetime. This was a working artistic partnership. But history has a habit of simplifying couples. It chooses the easier name. It chooses the man first. After her death, that is exactly what happened. William became the more familiar De Morgan name for many people. Evelyn's work sat in that shadow, which is absurd when you actually look at the paintings, because this is not minor work. This is not footnote work. This is not wife of work. This is a painter building an entire symbolic world out of war, greed, imprisonment, spiritual survival, and female resistance. The problem was not that the paintings lacked force. The problem was that art history did not always know where to put that force. Too pre-Raphaelite for some modernists, too spiritual for easy realism, too political to be merely decorative, too beautiful to be treated as dangerous, and too female to be treated as central at all. That is the trap. When a man paints allegory, we are often told he is philosophical. When a woman paints allegory, people can mistake it for prettiness. But De Morgan's prettiness is never safe. In the Gilded Cage, beauty becomes a prison. In SOS, beauty becomes a distress call. In the Red Cross, beauty stands over a field of graves. Again and again, she keeps the language of beauty and makes it accuse the world. That is the real power here. Evelyn De Morgan did not reject beauty. She did something more dangerous. She kept it, she sharpened it, and she made it tell the truth. She painted angels who do not feel like comfort, women who do not feel like ornaments, souls crying out from the edge of war, bodies caught between heaven and fire. Her husband became the name many people remembered first, but Evelyn De Morgan was painting the darker truth. Her angels became the warning. And more than a century later, the beauty still does not feel safe.